Awesome, man. So yeah, so let's go back Dan to um yeah, what so situation before us working together, what were you doing? You were a maintenance engineer, weren't you? If I remember
Yeah,
correctly.
yeah. So, yeah, maintenance engineer, working for Amazon. Um,
Yeah.
so I did my apprenticeship with Amazon, and it was a good apprenticeship, to be fair. Not trying to. I know this conversation isn't about selling Amazon apprenticeships, but it was good. Had good sort of basic training around everything really, mechanical, electrical, and automation stuff. So I was a maintenance engineer with Amazon, including my apprenticeship for 5.5 years. And
Yeah.
then
Was that straight out of school, college? Like,
no, so I was I was a little bit late on starting my apprenticeship. I was 26 when I started. Um, yeah, so I did a music degree. Um,
oh yeah, that was it. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. Um, yeah, so yeah, did a music degree and then taught music in schools for
Right.
about 3 years, going around different schools teaching mainly the drums. Um, but yeah, that wasn't for me. It wasn't massively inspired by the teaching life. So yeah, I was always interested in engineering stuff, DIY projects on the side and stuff. So that's how that
Yeah.
sort of got into engineering that way.
Yeah. So okay, so you did music to start with, and then you did like a 4 or 5 year apprenticeship at the age of 26 then. So you
Yeah,
finished that sort of around 30, 31.
when I was 30, yeah.
Okay. And so what happened then once you finished that apprenticeship with Amazon?
Yeah, so I stayed on board with Amazon for another year and a half after my apprenticeship. Because yeah, I was happy there. So yeah, I just carried on doing the same job really, but obviously as a fully paid, fully qualified maintenance engineer. Um,
What were you sort of doing specifically at Amazon? Because I've never actually understood what maintenance guys do there.
yeah. Um, so there's a lot of conveyor belts in Amazon places, in Amazon fulfillment centers, as they're called.
Yeah.
Yeah, loads of conveyor belts. I mean, in the more modern Amazon places, they've got loads of state of the art automation, robotics, and stuff like that. Unfortunately, the Amazon I was at didn't have robotics as such, but loads of other automation, loads of conveyors, like labelers, sorters, diverts, various sort of pneumatic systems for
Hmm.
um, yeah, labelers and diverts and that kind of thing. So yeah, distribution equipment really. So it was just maintaining a lot of that, being aware of
But
sort of control principles, but not necessarily going in massive depth with that because they had dedicated automation engineers. So
what? So okay. So it was like, was it general mechanical and like general electrical then, like maintenance that you
yeah,
were doing
yeah.
on one site or multiple sites?
On one site we were based, yeah, but we could
Okay.
occasionally go and help other sites, other Amazon sites.
And what did the automation engineers do, or do they do, that's different to
The
like what you were doing at
the
Amazon?
automation engineers, yeah, so they uh, so my computer keeps on cutting out for some reason. I'm not sure if that's affecting.
No, we can still
Yeah,
hear you,
no, no, I'll
see.
just ignore that. Screens keep on going off. I'll just try taking the HMI out. Sorry. Yeah, the automation engineers they were more concerned, obviously, going in depth with the PLCs, actually, reprogramming them, changing bits of the code to, if there was bits of code that were problematic and causing sort of tote crashes or box crashes or whatever. Um, so yeah, unfortunately, like we were as general maintenance engineers with Amazon, we weren't allowed to go into the coding or programming or anything like that. So that's what they would do. They're more sort of laptop based.
Was it purely code then and software stuff that they did, or did they get involved in any like control panel stuff, like controls, sensors, like instrumentation, or was that more your remit as maintenance guys?
That's probably where we had crossover. Yeah. So yeah, they would very much work with control panels and all the instrumentation inside. Yeah, and we there was a bit of crossover there. Yeah, we would, as maintenance engineers, we'd go into control panels and more just kind of fault finding, looking for faults, maybe a little bit of continuity or general kind of
Yeah,
fault finding testing, that kind of thing. Yeah, maybe sort of changing breakers or fuses, that kind of thing that we would do and they would do as well. So yeah, I guess the control panels are where we just sort of overlap a little bit.
right. And so
Yeah.
you were there, so you then did your apprenticeship with them. You were there for like a year, year and a half, and then is that when you went self-employed?
Yeah. So like I sort of mentioned, the Amazon site I was at was a little bit of an older one, a little bit more dated, and they closed the site. Um, so I had the opportunity to either carry on with Amazon at a more modern site or take redundancy and see what else was out there. So I did the second option.
Yeah.
Again, nothing against Amazon, um, but um, but yeah, it was just an opportunity, obviously, with a bit of financial backing to kind of take a few risks
Yeah.
and see what else was out there, which I'm glad I did. Um, yeah, and then went self-employed for a year, which was a really good opportunity working for an agency that I'd worked with while working at Amazon, who send engineers to various sort of distribution centers similar to Amazon.
Like a
Uh,
freelance engineer.
yeah, a freelance maintenance engineer.
Yeah.
Yeah, just going around places sorting very sort of similar problems, lots of stuff with sensors, motors, um, and also started to work during that year. Started to work more with robotics, which was good, sort of shuttle
Yeah.
systems, and so actually opened my eyes to more automated and robotic systems than I had previously, which was really good. And just got a general good overview of sort of engineering across the country, I suppose, because
Yeah.
obviously I'd only been at one site before, so it was really good. That was a really good experience. But all the way along those 6.5 years, um, I'd slowly started to realise that sort of I felt a bit limited by maintenance. So that's the next sort of part of the story, I guess. And
Yeah.
yeah, so I think it was shortly after leaving Amazon that's when I sort of found your YouTube channel and sort of got in contact with yourself. And well, I was applying for a job actually. Yeah, I was applying for a control panel engineer job, which I was really interested by. Just trying to sort of get out of maintenance, sort of failed that interview and then thought, right, I need to kind of upskill um, a little bit and find out more about controls and automation so I can sort of get more out of the maintenance side and more into design and actually seeing projects
Yeah.
from start to finish, um, become a bit more of a specialist rather than a general kind of maintenance engineer. Obviously get off the shifts, the night shifts, the 12-hour shifts.
Yeah. Yeah.
Uh,
They can be tough.
Indeed. Yeah, so that's
What was the goal then? Like I seem to remember like it was design was a big part of it.
yeah.
Was it to become a design engineer?
Yeah. Um, yeah, essentially it was to get, I mean, not necessarily have the job title of design engineer necessarily, but have a job that had more design aspects, whether that was like a project engineer
Yeah.
or what I have sort of fallen into now. which isn't necessarily design engineer, but there's well, most of the job is sort of design. Um,
Okay,
uh,
so it was like, yeah, it was get away from maintenance for all those reasons mentioned and get more involved with the design or understand elements of it, perhaps some of the controls, perhaps like develop into a more senior role like managing staff. Like, but what was it might still be, but what's the big goal for you? Like, where do you want to go in the industry if you could?
um, just I want to become as good as I can be, become as sort of knowledgeable as I can be, with the path that I've now chosen, which is more PLC based, PLC design and designing HMI screens.
Yeah,
Um, so the next goal for the next couple of years, I suppose, is to get to know that as much as possible. Just yeah, become I'm just at a trainee level again now, but yeah, become hopefully a proper expert. And yeah, beyond that, it's difficult to say. I mean, certainly I'm 33 now, maybe sort of going into my 40s, maybe I'll be looking at sort of more of a sort of management position, stepping away from technical maybe. Because on my sort of current pathway, I guess that there will be expectations to sort of travel and to still go on to site and um, to literally fix problems with PLCs and that kind of thing. So yeah, so as I get older, maybe have something a little bit more stable, um, in terms of where I'm based. Maybe that's always difficult to get in engineering, but
yeah,
um, yeah. So whether I can, if I can achieve that with the company I'm now with, then great. I, it, yeah,
yeah.
the company I'm now with, yeah, do seem like a really good company, and um, yeah, I'm getting
Well,
very good vibes from them. I think so.
yeah, mate, I want to dive into that in a sec. So just going back to kind of like when you found us and we started talking, like what was kind of like what was the goal back then to get into design then, or to become a controls engineer? What were you wanting to do back when like we started having a conversation?
Um, it was I wanted to do something electrical, whether it was to do with control panels or more specifically PLCs or general electrical systems, and have an element of design in that, whether it was using AutoCAD electrical or whatever PLC
Yeah,
programming software. That was it. Like, yeah, electrical based, design based.
yeah.
Uh, the main thing was to get out of maintenance, but that wasn't the main thing. Like a genuine interest towards design because I'm
Yeah.
very creative. I like to think,
Yeah, yeah. I
and so
remember
to
us
try and tap
talking
into that,
actually.
yeah,
Yeah. And that's the great thing with design, with some PLC stuff, like you can really use that part of your brain, that creative part
yeah,
of your brain, problem solving and like yeah. So what was like would you say was the roadblock then preventing you from getting to that next place out of maintenance back when we started talking?
yeah. Um, Sort of real world experience really, and knowing um, what was expected of you as a design person, um, whether engineer or CAD or whatever. Um, just yeah, just sort of tangible experience, I guess. And therefore, because of a lack of that, because I've been more, well, yeah, maintenance based, more kind of on the tools, mechanical, and more kind of simple electrical stuff. So yeah, so lacking confidence because of that lack of experience, and therefore, do I have what it takes to be a design engineer? I mean, I felt like I had because I'd done engineering, I'd done sort of musical design. I did sort of composition at university, and so I knew I could combine that. But it was just that kind of final step of, okay, I'm confident that I've kind of got these skills, but it's just that final step of, but do I really have what it takes to combine them? And yeah, so that was the kind of and just knowing where to go as well, and where to apply, and how to tailor my CV, and what did people want to hear. So it's just a general
Yeah.
lack of knowledge and experience, I think, as to what to do to get what I wanted.
Yeah.
Uh, yeah,
And so now, mate, yeah, so I can't, I think it was maybe a few months from being in the program to like then just hearing from you. I can't, was it direct message or in the community? You
yeah,
message saying that you've landed a new role. It just kind of came out of the blue. I was like, oh, where's
yeah.
this come from? And I was like, oh, fucking fair play. So how did that come about?
Um, so, well, I mean, literally, I mean, I saw the job just on this company's website. I mean, it's a local company, so I don't know, I just had a bit of a random morning of browsing for sort of local engineering companies and seeing if they have any roles going. And it was literally, yeah, literally, no, what they're called, no recruiters, nothing through Indeed, just on the company website for um, ISOMA, as they're called. Uh,
Yeah. Shout out
yeah,
representing.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, yeah. I mean, yeah, that's how it came about. I mean, I was only sort of casually, very sort of casually looking. I wasn't having a massive kind of splurge of sending out CVs, and that I had done that before. A few kind of periods of sending out a lot of stuff, and yeah, and sometimes, yeah, it's only a little bit of effort, and the right thing kind of drops on your lap, kind of thing, which is how it can happen, I suppose. Um,
Yeah.
yeah,
What happened after that then? So you reached out to them, they invited you for an interview.
yeah, yeah. Basically,
And
so literally,
what is the position? Sorry to cut in, mate. What is the position that you applied for?
trainee automation engineer. Um, so they were looking for somebody to, um, yeah, to come in and, yeah, basically learn from the, not quite from the ground up. They were looking for somebody with a bit of experience generally, um, but yeah, to train them up to program PLCs and HMI screens to do it the way they do it. So that's what they were looking for. Yeah,
Yeah. And so it was quite yeah, it was kind of a pretty quick thing then from having the conversation going for the interview. It was pretty much yeah, a done deal then.
yeah, pretty much. I think so. Yeah, so on their website to apply, it was just literally an email. I did a bit of a fancy, well, wasn't fancy. I did a cover letter and then CV attached, which is what they asked for. Um, but yeah, I think it was just the right combination of things on my CV. Really, they're looking for somebody with a sort of bit of an automation background and a bit of PLC programming experience, which I had, but not sort of too much. They were looking for somebody that was kind of young enough that I could have a future with the company, but not so young that I was just like fresh out of college. And I had a bit of
Yeah.
evidence that I could hold down a job in engineering and that kind of thing. So I think yeah, they just kind of looked at my CV and this is just the right combination of things for us. And so they invited me for an interview. Got there a week. Well, no, yeah, literally five days after I'd sent them the email. I had the sort of interview with them, but they were just confident, like I say, because of this combination of things. I guess they were just like, yeah, we want you, kind of thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, I had a look around their factory, and yeah, it was just yeah, I've been getting my own desk and just said, yeah, we be training you up to design things, and we want your ideas to solve problems. It's just like, yeah, that's yeah, brilliant. More office based, Monday to Friday. Um,
Yeah. It's local
so
as well, is it?
yeah, it's 4 minutes down the road as well.
Oh,
So
ideal.
it's just like I think it just felt like a no brainer for sort of both of us really. It was just the right thing. So it all happened really quickly, and then so yeah, so I accepted the job that day. So from like literally 6 days, I think I applied on the Saturday. He got back to me on the Sunday, invited me for an interview the Friday. So in 6 days, it kind of just happened really. So yeah,
Awesome. Quick turnaround. See, that's that like when people don't hear back for weeks, it's
mm,
sadly because more like 9 times out of 10, it's probably because they're not what you're not what they're looking for. Like when it's obvious when they want you, like they're quick, they want to snap
yeah.
you up. And it sounds like that's what happened with you, which is great. What does your day to day? How long have you been there now, Dan?
I think this is my 7th week.
And what
Um,
have you been doing? Like, what's your day to day now as a trainee's like automation engineer?
um, so yeah, most days it's been. Um, it sounds quite cushy, really, and that's probably because it is. But it literally been sat at my nice desk in a nice office. But yeah, just getting to grips with the software basically that they use, and yeah, it's been sort of quite nice, really. I mean, they started me off on this training package, which I shared on the group earlier, by the way, as promised.
Oh, I did see a post. I've not looked at it yet though,
Yeah,
but I look forward to seeing that in a sec. Yeah.
um, yeah, it's just like a quite dated but very effective kind of package of simulations that you can program, and they replicate sort of real life scenarios. Um, and there's various ways of solving these simulations. So that was the first few weeks, just kind of making my way through that training package of increasingly difficult sort of simulations.
Using ladder logic, is it?
Using ladder logic, um, more directed towards Allen Bradley PLCs, but
Yeah.
the, I've used Siemens PLC programming software before, the TIA portal, and it's all the same kind of principles,
Yeah.
really. So that's something I'd encourage people not to be too worried about. I think, I mean, I'll know more as I go along, but there doesn't seem to be massive differences, really. Certainly, the
No.
basics and the principles are the same. But
Yeah, like ladder logic,
yeah,
whatever system you're doing it in. Like obviously there's going to be nuances to the layout of the software, but ladder logic.
yeah, um, yeah, and so yeah, it's been kind of more. So I kind of finished that sort of package, and now they got me set up with a just like a blank PLC on my desk, and then loaded up the proper Studio 5000 software that you use to program Allen Bradley, and Factory Talk View, which is Allen Bradley. I think or Rockwell Automation is their own by their
Yeah.
HMI screen designing software. So the last couple of weeks, I've been sort of designing my own sort of simulations um, as a sort of a HMI screen. So things, and you can sort of
Yeah.
animate them so things kind of move around, and obviously add buttons so you can
Yeah.
make things happen. So you can sort of make your own simulations there. And then, so yeah, I mean that's literally been it really. Been kind of given free reign to pretty much just get to grips with stuff, and then my sort of manager, team leader, who's an experienced automation engineer, any sort of major problems, he'll come over and suggest or just show me how to sort of do something. So I had good support, and but
Yeah.
also free reign and independence,
Yeah.
and it's just been
Yeah.
really nice, really, up to this point. So, um,
Like that's a massive thing. That so last conversation I had with Wesley, exactly same situation as you, like maintenance engineer wanting to get into controls. He's recently landed a job as a controls engineer, and that was like a big thing that he talked about is how you go from being like almost watched all the time where and you're clocking in and clocking out and you basically there's no trust there to kind of being given free rein, being given the independence. You know,
mm,
as an employee, he was an employed maintenance engineer. I know you did a bit of like self-employed stuff, but like how now he's just kind of like he's trusted, you know, and
yeah,
if he works 5 hours on site one day, he can go home early. It's not a problem because like they just there's a bit of give and take. They know that you know if he needs to work a little bit later the next day, like that he would just mutually do it. You know, he'd reciprocate it, and it's like
yeah,
that's exactly what I experienced going from like a service engineer to a controls engineer. Is you are given that trust, that independence, that free reign. You know.
yeah. No, definitely. I think in maintenance, I think, yeah, I don't know. I think there's probably quite a lot of people that maybe spoil it for everyone else. There's a lot of, um, yeah, sort of maybe lazy people in maintenance, but maybe slightly lesser qualified people sometimes that have maybe kind of, blagged their way into engineering or whatever. And so, yeah, I don't know. Maybe a lot of maintenance managers are kind of, have to treat them
Yeah.
like kids sometimes. I don't know. And so, but yeah,
Yeah. Dead right,
so
mate. I
yeah,
agree.
so in sort of controls and automation, it feels like, I don't know, you got to maybe have that bit more of a creative edge, maybe, and to be able to really be well. I think you've got to be passionate about it. You've got to be interested in it, and because of that, people tend to be a bit more. I'm
That's a
trying not
good
to say
point.
anything bad about maintenance engineers now. Sound like a right.
No, but it's like if you're doing a creative endeavor, if you're part of a creative endeavor, it's usually because you enjoy it, you know, and like you just got that part of your brain, you're that type of person that enjoys it. And it's like you'd be, yeah, like just like you've got to let creatives be creatives kind of thing. That's a little bit like we were maybe a little bit over the top, but like
Yeah.
just let
Well, no.
let them do what they need to do and trust that they will do it because
Yeah.
like you said there's an interest there's a more of a passion there it's not so much of a slog it's not like forcing them to do hard labor not that maintenance
Mm,
is but it's not you're not using as much of that creative side of you
yeah. Yeah.
and it becomes a bit of a slog doesn't it it gets a bit monotonous and boring
Yeah. Yeah. Definitely
so
can
you
be. Yeah.
probably have to have someone kicking you up the arse as you are going to slack off because it's a bit depressing after a
Yeah.
period of time, especially on shifts as well.
Oh yeah. Yeah. It's not the life. Not for me anyway. Some people love it, and some people are very good at it, and there's some incredible engineers
Yeah.
out there. But yeah, no, it wasn't for me. I think yeah.
What what elements like just going back sort of oh even where you are now, but maybe back before like the job interview around that time, like what elements of the program would you say sort of helped you, the most and potentially help you get to where you are now, if
Um,
any?
well, it was kind of just the whole thing, really, which sounds a bit of a can't think of the word, but yeah, it was just kind of everything about it that was kind of helpful because everything was an insight into a real world scenario. Um, Certainly, I think just yeah, seeing a sort of a schematic, a professionally made, schematic that's used there and is out there in the real world, and being talked through the whole thing, and so that it's impossible, almost impossible to not understand it by the end. Um, just gives you that confidence that, oh, okay, now I do fully understand a real world thing. Oh, I can do that. I can sort of yeah, I can sort of replicate those, and that's a few bits that show me how to do things that I wouldn't have known how to do. And so it was just the kind of the whole general thing, if that's not too much of a cop out, just to
No.
that's the word I was looking for. Yeah.
So the schematics then was like a big part of it for you then, just yeah,
Mm,
from you mentioned sort of like the confidence, like maybe instilling, what you already thought you knew, but just instilling that and giving you that confidence, what you did know, is right, perhaps.
yeah. But also learning new things as well. Um, yeah, yeah, I'm not going to pretend I already knew everything on schematic specialist or um, but yeah, I mean, ultimately the schematic is where everything is explained with a system. If you can read the schematic, then you can sort of understand the whole system. And so, yeah, and being able to just be more confident with understanding that, which is, the center of a controls project at the end of the day was, yeah, just invaluable, really. So yeah, so definitely the schematic specialist part of it, and kind of annoying, really, because I kind of got this job before I then moved on to the other sections of
Yeah.
the program, and now my motivations maybe dipped to
I need to pull out the whip, mate, and
yeah,
virtually whip you back into
yeah.
shape.
I certainly need to look at the PLC bits of it. That would be valuable going forward with what I'm doing now. So, but yeah,
That's awesome, man. What I really enjoyed, and we haven't done this too much thus far, but like that like little workshop that we did with one of your previous projects, like when you were doing just service and maintenance work as a freelancer,
yeah,
that I really enjoyed, like breaking down like a completely different system schematic, and with those images that you took as well, and kind of
yeah,
piecing it together, like that was really valuable for me. So I really appreciate you bringing that to us, but also like other guys within the program, and having that as a recording on Zoom. That because it's daunting. You see a schematic one way, like we've got in the program, how it's laid
mm,
out like that. And then you look at another schematic and it's drawn differently, and you're like, oh fucking hell, I'm not used to schematics like that. But it's ultimately the same thing, right? If you know how to read one schematic, it transfers to another one. It might
yeah,
take a little bit more time. You might not be familiar with navigating it, but it's the same thing. So to be able to have you bring us that project and us share that with others as well to sort of demonstrate that was really valuable. So thank you for doing that.
no problem.
Um what advice would you give to anyone who's like looking to sort of do what you've done and perhaps go from maintenance engineer to controls engineer or
Mm.
automation engineer?
Um, it's trying to find the balance between sort of um, not putting all your eggs in one basket kind of thing. Don't necessarily look for, I don't know, you want to do a really specific thing, and it's got to be so many miles from home, and it's got to be a certain size company, and so don't be too specific, but also don't spread yourself too thin. Because there were moments where I was also looking at like mechanical 3D CAD design as well, because to be fair, I'm really interested in that as well. I've done bits of that before and have loved that as well, kind of the creativity of it.
Yeah.
So there was times where I was sort of looking for jobs um, along that line as well. I started to kind of, I was getting a bit disheartened with the sort of automation side of things. So I was kind of, right, let's go back to
Yeah.
looking at mechanical design and right, let's try and get the trial download of whatever it's called, the AutoCAD Inventor, and trying to get to grips with that again. But I was sort of spreading myself too thin, I think, and just try not to get disheartened.
Mm.
Highlight what it is you want within reason, not too specific, but also not too wide. Um, and sort of and focusing on that, and just try not to be disheartened. Only natural, I guess, to be disheartened when you get a bad interview
Yeah.
or ignored completely. It does happen.
Yeah.
But yeah, just keep plugging away, and any training courses that are are available, and obviously if you can afford them, then yeah, do it, and yeah, carry on improving yourself, and um, yeah, that kind of thing.
And that did that come up at all in the interview that you had? Like doing extracurricular stuff, like doing courses outside, not necessarily just what we do, but like,
Mm.
did that come up at all in discussion, outside learning?
Um, it To be honest, it didn't, but it was all there on my CV, and sort of by the time I kind of got to the interview, like I say, it was more they were trying to. It felt like they were more kind of trying to sell it to me. It was most of the interview was just kind of them
That's what you
describing
want,
everything that they did,
though.
sort of thing.
Yeah.
I think so.
Okay.
All my training courses and everything I'd done was there on my CV, so they already had that information, and they said pretty early on in the interview, well, or whatever, however long into the interview, that we we think you'll be really good for this, and yeah, we want you, kind of thing. So I imagine that all of that and all the training courses I've done, I've got a specific section in my CV sort of highlighted, so it's kind of obvious. So hope it is difficult to
Yeah.
say. I mean, maybe I could ask them and see what.
No, it's interesting,
Yeah,
man, because again,
yeah,
like the Wes, the last person I spoke to, he mentioned some of the stuff that he's been doing previously, and that was like a talking point for the interviewer. Like they highlighted it, they wanted to talk about it,
mm,
to understand like where he'd invested his time and his own time without being supported by a business, like his own money, his own finances, because that sometimes can go a long way when an interviewer or a business is sort of like looking at employing someone. If they can see that you're going like off your own back, you're investing in yourself,
yeah,
it gives you a lot of leverage. So I just wondered whether it was sort of potentially a similar thing with you.
yeah. Difficult to say, but I imagine it helped at the very least, and
Yeah, if it's on your CV. Yeah.
yeah, but certainly in my own head, all of that training did help because it made me more confident with what I knew and what I was capable of. Obviously, that's what the training's for at the end of the day.
Yeah, that's the thing. It's
So
like it's a confidence thing, isn't it?
yeah,
You know, it all I think stems back to confidence because if you got if you especially in your technical ability, if you got confidence in your technical ability, you never sort of second doubting yourself when you're asked a question or someone's asking your take on something, or if you can explain, how to work out this fault or do this bit of programming, like you're never hesitant. And that confidence, certainly in like a business situation, certainly like if you're in front of a client, but it's the same sort of thing in front of like a business owner or a hiring manager. If you can have that confidence and transfer that over to that employer, that business owner, hiring manager, or recruiter, like that's the key thing, I think. and if you're
Yeah,
not a dick as well, you know, you're a decent person. Um,
yeah,
yeah, it's just that's massive. I've found in myself, and you know, working with other guys, it's a confidence thing.
yeah. As long as generally you can back it up with genuine
Sure, yeah,
knowledge and skills. Some people are full of
yeah,
it. And
yeah, for sure. Yeah, I mean, but you get found out pretty quick,
yeah,
and some people manage to somehow stay employed and not get fired, but like
mhm.
you get found out pretty quick, like in a technical industry. So yeah, of course you gotta back up. You can't be all fart no poo. You gotta have a bit of poo.
that's that's a phrase. Yep.
Yeah, probably an inappropriate phrase.
No,
Let's.
it gets across the message.
All right, mate. Well, on that note, let's end it there before it
Yeah.
gets any worse. Um, Dan, mate, I really appreciate you taking the time to do this, mate. Like I said, it's
No.
like it's it's really inspiring for people that are new to the industry, that have perhaps currently maintenance engineers wanting to
Mm.
progress, you know, down the path that you've progressed, and just to, you know, you shed some light, share your story is massively valuable to people and the industry. So yeah, I appreciate you doing it, mate. Thank you.
Yeah. No worries. Um, yeah. Good luck to everybody out there.
All right, mate. I'll see you in the
Yeah.
community.
Cheers, Chris.
All right, bud. Cheers. Bye bye.
Cheers. Bye.